welcome to Tiny Table Talk for the Challenge World Championships Episode 4. We got quite a bit to go over in this video, talking about the MTV Legends versus the Global MVPs, going over some MVP performances from this past week, as well as some comments from my Thursday's review and recap video. So without further ado, let's jump in talking about... Now, this past week's episode, as well as the episode prior in episode 3, Paramount Plus is really laying the groundwork that the global MVPs and the MTV Legends will not be seeing eye to eye coming up in the very near future. I mean, we saw a glimpse of it this past week with Danny and Sarah and some of the other global MVPs wanting to target Kaz and Jordan and even Wes and Zara before they won the daily challenge and into power. And I want to talk about how this is just everybody dipping their toes into the gameplay, into the strategy, where I think that the MTV Legends will actually be in for a rude awakening. If we think back to the past couple of seasons of the main flagship show, where majority of these MTV Legends were playing on, if we look back to the format of Challenge 38, they're paired up with their best buddies, which they're normally on the same side of the house. They don't really have anybody that they're really worried about trying to control the game or anything. The Vacation Alliance, as they have become known as, has always been into power and always had the big numbers. So no worry there in Challenge 38. Even in Challenge 37, all the vets were pretty good, as we saw an influx of rookies, mainly from international shows, where some of the players didn't even know what show they were signing up for. We saw Emmy, who was rewarded for kind of being the lapdog to all the vets, mainly CT, where if he said, jump, sit, tell me all the rookies that are plotting against us, Emmy would do it, and she got rewarded by going all the way to the finals and then getting to sing her Alien song at the reunion. So even with a ton of rookie numbers coming into Challenge 37, the vets still had no real worries except for each other on that show. And even then, it was fine. It was just a questionable friendships conversations that happened every single week. Challenge 36 was a paired season, but they were mainly paired up with each other, and nobody was really nervous during that season as well. And 35 was a solo season. So there really hasn't been a season where the vets have been tested. They haven't been pushed back in a lot of different ways, especially with the Vacation Alliance being in power for majority of the time, that they have been able to kind of just like play the game, make it very far, possibly get to the finals and either win or lose by a couple of seconds. But this season is going to be completely different in the sense that they are not playing with international players that has never even heard of the challenge, that has never played a challenge-like show. They're coming from dating shows. The players that they're playing with may still be new to the challenge realm, but everybody here has played a version of the show. They know some of the games that are meant to be played. They have an idea of what kind of strategy they could be using. But I also think that it's very, very funny that we have MTV Legends like Johnny Bananas, who was so determined to be partnered up with somebody from Team USA, even though I think that Team USA is going to be the hardest team to work with. Yes, they speak English. Yes, you may know them from their other shows or seeing how they have played, but with the players like Sarah and Danny, they're coming from a Survivor type background, where some people and some of the audience would deem Survivor is a much more cutthroat kind of game than, say, the challenge nowadays. And they're not some like 22-year-old international players coming from America's Got Talent and has no idea how to play this game or what it even is. They are players who are older, seasoned, know how to play some strategy, has won a challenge type show. They have their own minds and ways of wanting to play this game. They're not going to just easily roll over and let the vets just do whatever they want to, or be sitting there like deer in the headlights being like, I'm just here to just, I'm glad Johnny Bananas is my partner. I'm glad Theo is my partner. I'm glad Tori's my partner. I'm just going to hang back in the back and hopefully we can make it past into the finals. No, they don't want to do that at all. They don't want to just make it to the finals. They want to win the finals. They're going to want to actually take some shots, and they're going to want to actually see some gameplay happening. And I'm, for one, is very excited, because I think for the longest time that, not to say that the Vacation Alliance or some of these challenge vets that have been on the show for so long just put on autopilot when they're getting paired up with, say, rookies from other reality shows or players that have never been on the challenge before. I mean, they are dealing with people that have actually been on a challenge-esque type show and have their own thoughts and strategy that they want to implement in the game. And I can just see Danny and Sarah and some other players kind of digging in their heels at a certain point, being like, no, we need to take shots at the strongest players in this game because it's not just fine to make it to the finals. We want to win the finals. Now, I did look at a good amount of comments from my past week's review and recap, and I do agree that this was not the week to do it. This was not the week to make the power move, so I completely agree with the vets and majority of the people that made comments in my comment section. But the vets and the legends can just say no, but it's not going to be that way for long. And I wonder if, say, that the legends, when they do want to make a power move, will that move be against people that aren't necessarily in their fold? Like, I could see Tori, Casey, and Bananas wanting to target players like Amber or Darrell, who were thrown in multiple times during last season 38 and who hasn't been in the strongest positions in games socially or connected very strongly with any of the players that are in this game at the moment, that they're going to look at their global MVP partners and be like, look, that's a power move, right? Darrell is a 4-time champ. Amber is a 1-time champ. But they want to make the most of the opportunity and target a bigger, stronger type of team. Like, say, a Wes and Zara, who went on to win this past week's daily, and Jordan and Kaz, who have done pretty well in past daily challenges. I, for one, am very excited to see how the gameplay is going to change when the global MVPs want to do one thing, their partners want to do another, and also, what does that mean for voting in the house? Will TJ have to make a house call if the vote at the table really starts to come into a real stalemate? That's something that I'm very much looking forward to, because after hearing some of the confessionals from Danny and especially Sarah at the end of this episode, I think it could be coming as soon as next week's episode, which, yes, please, but we're gonna have to wait and see. What do you think about it? Do you think that there's gonna be a real big stalemate coming sooner rather than later? Let me know down in the comment section below. Now let's go over some MVP performances from this past week, and I have to give one of the awards to Zara. I mean, she crushed this daily challenge, the Gates of Hell daily challenge. I mean, she was ruffling and tumbling. I mean, honestly, I think Wes had it easy. He had the easy route of running back and forth, and Zara took on the grunt work. She was fighting with Tori in the back while Wes and Danny were running against each other, and then on the final lap, it was her holding back Danny in a headlock and slowing down Tori as well, that Wes was able to get a clean getaway. Yes, he stumbled, but even with the stumble and somersault, he was able to get back onto his feet easily and get the win for both of them. It's a no-brainer that the MVP should be Zara. I will give the men MVP award to Wes for his performance in the daily challenge. He did a really, really good job, and he saved Kellyanne, which I think is redemption for voting for her in the first voting ceremony when everybody was paired up with each other. So I have to give both awards to Zara and Wes. Now, this was a little bit difficult on trying to figure out who would be the LVPs. I don't think that I'm going to give it to Naya and Rodrigo, because I don't want this to be a weekly segment where I just give the LVP to the eliminated team and the MVP to the team that won the daily challenge. I do think I want to give the LVP to Jody and Benha, even though they got 3rd place in the daily challenge and they won the elimination. It's just the sense that they got 3rd place in a daily challenge, placed high in another daily challenge working with each other, failed to win, went to the voting ceremony, was voted in by the whole house, and it's this time that they were picked to go into elimination against Naya and Rodrigo, and they are the last Argentina team standing, which is not a good sign. They can perform well, but when it comes down to interacting with each other and trying to play the game in the house, there is that disconnect, and I wonder if that's going to come back and get them sooner rather than later. And also being the last Argentina team, they just have this big old target on their back, even though they're not really a threat to anybody. But if everybody just keeps playing in neutral, then they're going to be in for a tough uphill battle. But what do you think about my MVPs and LVP picks? Let me know down in the comment section below if you agree or disagree. And if you disagree, let me know your picks for MVP and LVPs down in the comment section below. Now let's read some comments from my Thursday's review and recap. And the first comment comes from Christy, who says, Wes almost face planting and coming back with a smooth recovery was the highlight for me. That was really, really good. I'm not gonna lie, that was, like you said, very smooth. It reminded me of Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones from New York Giants, when he was running in that Monday night game and he just face planted. But Wes was able to do something he couldn't, and that was smooth recovery, get back on your feet, and then take care of business. That was really, really impressive. Jaboy G comes in with a comment saying, signs are up for multiple seasons ASAP. She had an ex-NFL player in a headlock so her team can win. That's OG challenge energy right there, and highlights the difference between the play it safe regulars and those without future season guarantees. I don't know why, I just read that comment out loud and I kind of got goosebumps. I completely agree. I want Zara to be a mainstay on the show. I want Theo to come back onto the MTV main show as well. Zara is a new favorite of mine. I liked her in the Challenge UK, but she is showing so much personality, so much fight, and her competitive side here that I want to see more of Zara. Hey there, Krista. Zara went full on beast mode, helping Wes secure the win. I love it. It was such a good performance. Earth 2 Sucks comes in with a comment saying previous elimination winners should only be eligible to go back in if they finish last. Something to make the first half of seasons unpredictable and fun. I love the idea because I thought War of the Worlds 1 did really well in the way that they gave the idol or the trinket, the immunity to everybody, that if you won an elimination, you were unable to go into the next elimination. I don't know why, and I still don't know why, that they've never brought that back. I thought that was such a good idea to have that as an option, especially for a season like this, because now everybody is fully just falling back into the default, oh, they were the vote last time, they're both still here, let's just put them in. And I could just see this cycle continuing over and over and over again, because Kellyanne doesn't seem to be making as many friends, neither does Tristan, as the same with Jody and Benha, who are now the only Argentina team left. I worry for both of them just to keep on being the default vote, and I think that immunity or whatever they had in War of the Worlds would have been perfect to have on this season. Jamie comes in with a comment saying, people really downplayed this season because of episode 3, amazing daily elimination and the nomination for Ep4. I knew Jody and Kellyanne would speak up when getting voted in again, and I couldn't contain my excitement when seeing that. This was a much better episode than the previous episode. Not to say that episode 3 was bad, I just liked seeing all the competitions, as well as we did get some house drama in this week as well, and I did really love Kellyanne and Jody speaking their mind, because they know that once can be like a fluke, you know, but 2 times is a pattern. And after hearing your name both times at the 2 voting ceremonies, that can get to a repetitive kind of nature. And they're like, well, we're just going to like say what's on our mind. We're not going to hold back and be silent, because if you be silent, then people are going to be like, oh, well, there's no repercussions with them. Now, if you let your stance be known to everybody, like, hey, I'm here to play ball, maybe that'll persuade somebody to be like, okay, well, I want to work with them. Lukey Charms, who says, it's crazy how Kellyanne and Jody are the only legends willing to play hard. Everyone else is so dang boring. But this is what everybody was talking about with the critiques of who gets on the cast every single season. You have Kellyanne, you have Jody, you have John A, you have Yes, who have played only on All-Stars, who knows how the All-Star game is played, now coming into having a mix of both MTV flagship show, comeback players, and then you have the global MVPs and everything, that their level of gameplay and their mentality are thinking like, well, I need to go all out for this, because I'm not banking on season 39 or even All-Stars 4 or All-Stars 5. As we saw the drama being kicked up by Kellyanne and John A, 2 players who are pretty much exclusively on the All-Stars series, and contrast and compare them with the flagship show, who is on the balcony being like, hey, why rock the boat? Just say the other 2 people's names again and let's move on with our lives. Nick comes in with a comment saying, if I see another week of voting in Kellyanne and Tristan and Jody and Benha, I might yell at my TV. I get it's early, but the MVPs are playing like experienced vets of the show. Yeah, I do think it's a little too early to be making a power move, especially with the losing team of Naya and Rodrigo going into this week's elimination, and they are injured. But I hope, and I hope, and I hope that we get some real chaos, some real power moves being contemplated, and we'll see how it's going to go, because I don't think that the MVPs are necessarily nervous about standing up to their MTV legends that they're paired up with. R Green comes in with a comment saying, if you don't make big moves or wait until the last minute, you wind up with people like CT skating to the end. You don't want to position yourself to face the best competition later when you have no choices. Save the weaker teams for down the road. I totally agree. It's kind of like, at least you took a shot at them, because you never know what the elimination is going to be. Yes, it may be too early, but sooner rather than later, you would rather take the shot early, hope that they go home and be eliminated from the game. Otherwise, they're making it far into the season, easily walking their way into the finals. Or a terrible thing would be if you lose the daily challenge, go directly into the elimination, and the team that you've been wanting to take a shot at but are too nervous to or can't get the numbers on, you're now facing them, a very strong team going up against you, like very close to the finals, and you're kind of sitting there, I don't know, twiddling your thumbs either on the plane ride home or you send them home. But you had the opportunity to take a shot and you didn't, and that could be seen as your fault. Stephanie comes in with a comment saying, I like that they are talking about it, but also I feel like they need to wait. The time will come and people that make big moves at the beginning never make it to the end. Wait it out. The reality is Jordan won't say Tori or Benea's name, so that helps you out. I just don't think that they see the other side of it. I agree, Stephanie P. This is where the two sides of the coin comes in, because if Danny is partnered up with Tori, who has a lot of friends and is very connected, then it's like, okay, cool, that's like a free pass. You're gonna make it deep into the game, past the halfway point, just don't come in last place and kind of not sweating it. I mean, you got your US numbers, you got Tori who has a ton of friends in the game. You should be good. You're a strong, physical, intimidating team. However, the people that she is friends with, you can be nervous about, because if Tori's gonna make it very deep into the game with all of her friends, aka the three other people that she named, which was Wes, Casey, and Jordan, three other really strong teams that you do not want to face deep into the game. So I can see it from both sides that, hey, just be happy that you have a really strong partner, that you're in a really good spot in the game. You're not like Jody and Benha or Kellyanne and Tristan. You have all of your US teammates. You have a very strong connected player. So you should be good that you're in a pretty nice position in the game. Why mess up that positioning? But on the other side, like R Green was saying, you don't want to just make it to the end. You want to be able to win in the end. Certified South comes in with a comment saying, I'm so sad for Team Argentina. They were my fave spinoff. I'm really rooting for Benha and Jody to pull through. Show them all hell, Team Argentina. Seeing Nia cry made me cry. I hope to see her on MTV Challenge one day again and soon. I hope to see Nia come back and compete either on the main flagship show or even on All-Stars. I would love to see more of Nia. I really liked her in All-Stars 3, and I wish we would have gotten to see more of her on this season. And I hope we get to see Nia come back to the challenge very, very soon. And the final comment comes from Jonathan, who says, calm before the storm. I was saying that a lot last week in Tiny Table Talk and even in the review and recap, and I'm saying it this week because I really do think that the storm will be here sooner rather than later with everything that was built up in this week's episode. But that is it for Tiny Table Talk this week. What do you think about this episode? Let me know down in the comments section below. How do you think the global MVPs and the MTV Legends will be working together, or if they can work together? Who do you think is going to be in the most friction with each other? I have a feeling that it's going to be Danny and Tori. Who are your MVPs and LVPs from this past week's episode? And would you like to see Nia and or Rodrigo back on the challenge sometime soon? Let me know anything and everything down on the comment section below. I want to give a special shout out, thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge World Championship content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.